Hello, my bear. How you doing? This is Novels and Bits podcast, and I am your host, Chizoba Haiti. How are you doing? This is Hate of the Everflame, book 3 in Curse of the Kindred series. In the last episode, I was like, oh, this is the part 2 of Hate of the Everflame. No, that one was part 1. This is part 2, obviously. If you had listened to it, you would know. Now, if you have notes, it's okay. Let's just dive in. So in the last episode, we ended things where, Diem has finally escaped from the Guardians with her friends. And then they make their sanctuary, their camp in this tree, like a very huge tree in Arbors has a split in between. So they're able to go in there, and it's like this natural tree house for them. So that's where they are camping out. Now, by the time Diem wakes up the next day, she's sleeping. Luther is holding her clothes, keeping her warm. She's even wearing his clothes. She's so warm. And it's afternoon. And she overhears Taran and Alex arguing outside of the tree, but close within her for her to hear. Close enough for her to hear. They're arguing about, hey, we should wake them up already. That's Taran is saying they should wake them up already. And Alex is like, no, allow them to get their rest. They were very thoughtful to put a cloak in that split between the tree that serves as the entrance, the door. So they put a cloak there to give Luther and Diem some privacy. Now, when Diem starts trailing Luther's scars, Luther stiffens. So apparently he's woken up. She's the only other descendant that he has met who has scars, and he is sensitive about his scars, even when he says he's not. Regardless, Luther starts from the beginning. This is their best time to talk. In the last episode, we're like, oh yeah, they've been keeping so much secrets from each other, and they had promised that after her coronation there would be no more secrets. But we did not really get to have that time after the coronation because, hey, the island was bombed, Diem was taken prisoner, but hey, they have their time right now to talk about those secrets. So he now starts telling her that, hey, this is how I know your mother, Orali. Orali that is in prison now, as we know. He first met her when she became the palace healer. So he tells her, I've been watching the Guardians, so I knew she was their leader. But I also knew she was the best healer in the realm. For the children, that was more important. That was the children in the palace. I let her work, but I kept a close eye on her. One day, I went to Mortal City for a half-mortal child that had been discovered. The girl was alive, but had been gravely wounded by her descended parents. And Luther relates so hard, because Luther is a half-breed too. He's a half-mortal, and he had once been struck by his father. He was supposed to die, hence the scars on his body. But Blessed Mother Lumnos intervened, and that's why Luther is still alive. So Luther relates so hard to a descended parent trying to kill their child, their half-mortal child. Luther had taken that girl to Orali for healing, and Orali knows very well that Luther is the keeper of laws. He's meant to be killing these half-breed children, not saving them. So suspecting what Luther is up to, she says, hey, I want to help with what you're doing. That's how they started working together. But it doesn't mean they are friendly or even friends. Now, Luther did make the mistake of trusting Orali as well. Oh, we work together, we have the same goal. He now started allowing her to move around the palace unescorted. And that's how she overheard his secret conversation with Papa Remus. That's Luther's father. So since then, she's been using it against him as leverage to force his hand in certain situations, including asking to go to Korea for medicinal plants. Luther didn't know about flame root then. So she counted on Luther being crowned, that when he's crowned king and he comes for his coronation, she'll join him and come back. That's what she counted on. Now, Diem also comes clean about assisting the Guardians. She's ready for the worst of judgment from Luther, but he already knows. It makes her now wonder, if any other person is the crown of Lumnos, that is not me, will Luther be as loyal to this person? Her heart tells her, nah, he would not be. It's just her. Now, while Diem is explaining that, wait, my mother could not have actually sanctioned these attacks that happened in recent times. This attack on the armory, they're trying to attack the palace on the day of this ascension ball and all those things. Vance's name comes up. As far it's this guy Vance that she left in charge. And then the moment Vance's name comes up, she remembers, oh no, my blood, he took my blood. Oh my God, we need to get to Lumnos right now. He's gonna attack the people in the palace. So Luther has to calm her down enough to ask her, did you willingly give your blood? She's like, no, of course not. She now tells her it's useless. It's only blood given willingly that can actually open the bloodlocks. She feels relief. Diem now explains that, but Vance is very dangerous. He crosses all lines. And when Luther is stormy, like, oh, I will enjoy killing that Vance, Diem goes, well, that's when it dawns on him. You don't want him dead. She's like, I know you think that makes me weak. I'm so sorry. He's like, oh no. Oh no, your compassion is not weakness. Anyone can slaughter their enemies. Hate is easy. It's mercy that requires greater strength. I'll be damned if I let you believe that beautiful heart of yours is a weakness. Trust your instincts, my queen. Above all else, trust yourself. And he seals these words with a fiery kiss. Oh, to be seen. They're still locked in an embrace when Taran busts past the cloak and comes in. With Diem's clothes washed and dried, Alex found a stream and they did something thoughtful. They washed off the blood and everything from her clothes, allowed it to dry. Taran excuses himself and Luther wants to as well so that Diem can change. So Diem is like, it's okay. It's okay if you stay while I change. He now settles on turning away. And she now jokes that you've seen me unclothed so many times. When we finally get a night alone, there's hardly going to be anything worth looking at. So he now tells her, Diem, when you and I finally get a night alone together, looking will be the list of what I do to you. Okay, those are promises. Now, where they are isn't only secure, but also has necessities to survive. So they're like in a secure part of the forest right now. It's past afternoon. So Diem now takes a group on a scavenging adventure where they collect berries, they collect mushrooms, eggs and fish. She teaches them basic first aid using materials gotten from nature. She's thinking, I don't know how long it's going to take us to get home. So just in case anything happens, they need to be able to look out for themselves. Diem now explains that this is mostly how she lived in Mortal City, since most of their patients couldn't afford to pay. Her father hunted and sold the hide to afford the crown's taxes. And these same taxes are what her friends led comfortable lives on. So they look at each other and they kind of look ashamed. It's news to Taran and Alex that Luther actually never punished those who couldn't pay, but instead supplied the money to them somehow so that they could pay. But Diem now explains that, yes, I appreciate that you never actually maybe exerted, that authority and punished them for not paying the taxes. But the fear of what might happen if they didn't pay the taxes made mortals go to great lengths so that they don't get to the point of they don't have to pay. You get. Now, Diem also explains that the forest was fun. It had plenty good memories for her. The forest always provides. That's what Diem keeps saying to them. Whatever they needed, the forest always provides. Somehow, Luther and Taran, they end up in a friendly brawl. They're shirtless. They have this defined muscles. And Diem watching them is like, ooh, delicious sight. Alice is like, she's not impressed. Come on, she's related to both of them. It's a bit weird if she were into any of them. Although that hasn't stopped some cousins. But, well, Alex is not those cousins. When it's time to make their meal, all the things they've gathered, Diem makes a fire with, flint and stones, gathers it and does that, which none of the descended know how to do. Alex makes her repeat that process multiple times. Alex herself does it multiple times currently before she's satisfied. Alex is a girl crush for a reason. The descended never really learn survival skills because they don't have to survive. But here they are. And here is Alex doing her best to learn that. This is a very privileged girl. Now, another sad aspect of descended oppression that comes up here is that they don't learn survival skills because the law has made it such that descended soldiers can seize any possession from a mortal without repayment, in quotes, in instances of urgent need, more like passing fancy. And somehow, remembering that her father has been victim to this, he would take time to hunt and some descended soldiers would be passing and snatch it from him. And that's food for his house. That's hide that can be sold to meet needs for their family. So Diem remembering those things, it makes her angry again against descended. Because remember, she grew up immortal, right? But then these ones that are with her, she has to remind herself, okay, these ones with me are trying at least. Do you understand? Now, the group now turns to serious talk. Diem now asks them, how are things outside of here? How are things back at Lumnos? She's so out of loop, being that she was captured for weeks. So apparently, violence has increased dramatically in nearly every realm, with guardians getting boasted. Like, yo, we're able to capture the island. Let's do more damage to the descended. Now, when Diem shares the rumors of a descended up north helping the guardians, Alex and Taran look betrayed. They don't know she used to be part of the Guardians. And going by their reaction, she's very nervous to let them know. she doesn't want to let them know anytime soon because they're not going to like it. As for the realm of Lumnos, things are largely unchanged. They're making it appear as though Diem is resting of the coronation. Thanks to her display of power, the challenging, the 20 houses aren't misbehaving. yet. However, there's a ton of photo soldiers in Lemnos. Alex and Luther believe that Remus is up to something with them. Sadly, Diem didn't announce her regent, that Eleanor is her regent before she was taken away, because she was going to announce that after her coronation. But hey, she didn't get to come back. So, Remus ain't relinquishing power to Eleanor. As for Aemon, he's not for them or against them. Now, after returning with Sarai that first time in an attempt to rescue Diem, that first time now that Diem had to send them away because they were trying to kill Sarai, Luther told Tella, that's Diem's younger brother, that Diem is healthy and in good spirits. But his entire body language said the opposite. Diem feels something, briefly, right now that I'm talking, the aura of Luther's magic. He uses it for a bit before it extinguishes. Alice and Tara now talk about their own powers, actually returning briefly too. Luther wonders, this one, neither of you mentioned that your powers returned until now. Taran has to remind him his mood on their way here, that he had a one-track mind just to get to Diem. He wasn't exactly in a chatty mode, and all he wanted to do was murder everyone's and stare at that damn magic compass. The moment Taran mentions the magic compass, Alex stops him, but he's already slipped information. So Alex has to take him away for a walk, leaving Diem and Luther behind. Luther is stoic, but Diem patiently waits it out. She understands his mask and his walls as to protect his heart. He's been through a lot. Finally, he now tells her, I saw them take you on the island. Your mother had wounded me, so I couldn't walk. Remember O'Reilly slashing Luther's tendons so that he would be down for a while. That time that he was still healing, he couldn't walk to get to Diem when they were taking her away. But he tried. Blessed kindred, he clawed his way through the dead, screaming her name. But the man carried her and left. Worse, Diem was too still in his arms, as for somebody that was already dead. So Luther keeps telling Diem, when I healed enough to walk, I ran through the fighting to the Lumnos Pier, hoping to chase after you. I found Henry on the boat, attempting to steal some flame root your mother had hidden nearby, and I confronted him. I could tell he knew where they had taken you, but he refused to tell me, even when things became heated. Despite this, Luther did not hurt Henry or the mortals with him, which Diem is surprised by. Instead, he ferried them back to Lumnos in one piece, because he knew that Diem would not like if he hurt them. But those people at that moment, with what they've done, they deserve to be hurt. But then you also have to understand that they're fighting to make conditions better for all mortals, even though the way they might be going about it, well, you also understand that like Diem is being implicated in the whole matter. So, yeah, well, in war, there's always a cost, there's always a sacrifice. Eventually, Luther flew out with Sarai, and they circled around the south where they'd seen the rebel boats until they found Diem that day now. But then she sent them away. He smiled at her for that, even while she tries to make him see reason. She tells him that she doesn't need a duty to protect him, just as she knows it's not the crown that makes him protect her. Finally, he pulls out the compass from his belt pouch. There was nothing Luther didn't want to try to save Diem. He threatened guardians. He considered breaking into Fortress prison in case O'Reilly knew where Diem was. He heard about the rebels trying to batter Diem and wondered, should I just wait for her to come back, to be returned? He was so lost, hence the compass. The compass is a gift from the crown of mirrors. It was given to Diem at the Ascension Ball. It's spelled with kindred magic to lead to whatever one's heart most desires. Mirrors is like the realm of ships, their king gives us pirate vibes, you get. With that compass being what led Luther to Diem, his not so secret is out. Diem is what his heart most desires. With Henry, Diem was running the other direction, when things like love and heart desires came up, because a part of her actually knew she wasn't aligned with him. But with Luther, she tells him, my heart desires you too, Luther Copper. This moment of perfect silence before they embrace joyfully, they're kissing when the twig snaps. Mind you now, this is already evening. Through the afternoon they hunted, they told stories, they prepared meals, and then Alex and Taran went out briefly. So this is nighttime, okay? So this is that moment where they've acknowledged they love each other. They're now like all up, making out, and then a twig snaps. And they think it's Taran. Like, Taran, keep on going, but hey, it is Taran. And he is not alone. The guardians came back, and leading them is Vance. Vance that has one hand now, because Sarai fried one of his hands when he would not go away when Diem asked him to. So the first thing Vance says is, shameful, your majesty. What will your betrothed think? Diem is quick to piece together that Cordelia did not send them. This is Vance acting on his own in a realm that is not even his own. He's not in Lumnos, he's not Boris, and he's not following their Boris's leaders' instructions. He's making followers. Unsurprisingly, all of them are men. Men who are given to violence, who want violence, blood, action now. Do you understand? As far as Vance is concerned, Cordelia and O'Reilly are weak leaders. Vance wants all descended gone or dead. With the godstone weapons, Diem's friends are in grave danger, and she is begging, willing to do anything for them not to be hurt. At least it's not dead though. At least she's not within sight. Guardians makes them drop all their weapons they collected, including Luther's sword of cobra. And then at the mercy of the mortals, you get, because now the Guardians are now in charge. These descendants don't have their magic, they don't have any weapons, but the Guardians have godstone. That one slice of it can kill this descendant. So with this, Vance starts his villain talk. He told Henry that descended women consider themselves too good for mortal men. But Henry swore Diem was different, that she would stand by him. So Diem points out that she's an ally. Vance now chooses a narrative that would turn Diem's descended friends against her. He didn't say this in Cordelia's camp, just so that the Guardians there would not think that Diem has actually helped our cause. But now saying that if I reveal that your queen helped us, you people are going to hate her. You understand? He chooses that narrative and he now starts saying it. He now tells her, we tried working together. This is Vance speaking. I inducted you as a guardian. I let you work on the Bennett Armory attack, the missions at the palace, even the preparation for the invasion of Korea. And how well did all that go? Oh my God. Taran is utterly betrayed. He won't meet Diem's eyes. Diem is trying to reason with the mortals that Vance doesn't care about them. I would gladly sacrifice them for the cause. He now tells Diem, so that mortal man you killed Cole. Diem stutters. We remember how broken she was in the last episode about accidentally killing that mortal man that was trying to kill Luther. So she is torn. She's like, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to. It was going to hurt my friend. So Vance actually came with the brother of that person that Diem accidentally killed. And now asks the person, tell me, sir, does it ease your grief to know your brother's murderer didn't mean to hurt him? Diem even makes matters worse, trying to explain that it's not intentional, you know? So in anger, that man now stabs Taran's ribs with a godstone spear. Godstone, the thing that is fatal to the descendant. So Vance wants Diem to pay, tells her that her friends would die, but he's going to hold her prisoner because he needs her blood. Now there's a crossbow aimed at Luther. That crossbow is fired, but then the force pushes it up and away from targets. Luther growls at Diem to run away, but she runs into the fight, knocking down Vance. Before she can fight more, an invisible force halts her back in time to dodge a godstone dagger coming at her face. Luther orders she be taken away, and that faceless force drags Diem. So Alexis' voice now whispers to Diem, and it finally makes sense. Alexis' magic is currently working, but it's not going to be for long. In fact, it sputters out. And they have to start running because the Guardian spots them. Alex has impossible agility that Diem cannot keep up with. They outrun the mortals, they keep running until they bust through the border to Igneous. And in busting through that border, Alex grunts in pain because of the border's magic. As a descendant, if you're crossing from one realm to another realm and you cross through a border, it hurts you. You're like, You know, Diem felt that in Spark of the Everflame when she stopped taking flame roots and she went from Lumnos to Fortress with Henry. When they crossed the border, she felt like this sharp pain that she didn't understand. So apparently just something descended experience when they cross borders. So now once they are safely in Igneous, which is a vast sandy desert, Diem is angry at Alex for taking her out of there and abandoning them. But Alex reminds her, our duty is to protect you. And I'm assuring you that those men are more capable than an army. So that's how they are resigned to waiting for the men to join them. As for the mortals, those guardians, they can't follow them here. Now, they don't talk for long. They're just quiet. The two ladies just sit on the sand and they're waiting for the men to show up. They don't talk for a long time. And when Alex finally says something, is to ask her, do you know if there's a cure for godstone? Diem only knows about godstone after her mother disappeared. And Diem now finally had a chance to go through her mother's notes. So that's when she found out about godstone. The only thing she learned about is that a small inconsequential one can heal, but larger cuts that will spread, no. So Alex prays to Mother Lumnos, she starts praying, but then she has no offering to give because she has no magic. So she now explains to Diem that when we pray to the kindred, we give an offering of magic, just a small drop, something to honor the gifts they bestowed. They say the magic given up in prayer is lost forever. In theory, no one really actually knows for sure if it's lost or just something. Diem is surprised, like descended who are power obsessed will give up a tiny fragment of their magic they know they will let go forever. She's like, okay, maybe it does make sense though. Because Luther is a devoted worshipper of Lumnos, and someone like him often gives off magic of his that he can't ever get back. Maybe because of that, maybe that's part of what makes him so powerful. Because an ember given is a flame received. You give up a small magic, in return, Lumnos rewards you with more. That's what is believed. But some people, just like in our own time, the Christian way of prospering is by give it. But then when you're looking at it, your salary is 120,000 naira. What you need to survive in a month is like 200,000. So the 120 is already deficit. And they're telling you, oh yeah, give 20,000 naira to God. You're like, hey, God, how would I know? You understand? But then we know that anything given to God multiplies. And somehow those sources meet us. They may not meet us. You'll not actually see 200k in your account. But you'll notice that even when you go out not having enough, somehow God supplies until there's a fresh salary or fresh things. So I think this is something like that. Now, the men returned soon after with Taran heavily leaning on Luther. Taran has 2 cuts, one on the ribs and then one on his shoulder. Luther has this shell-shocked expression. Taran now says, can't believe I was taken out by a bunch of mortals. Oh my God, this descended arrogance. Because yes, while we know that, yes, Diem and her friends are kind of the good guys, remember most descended have actually bad. They treated mortals very badly for centuries. Do you understand? So most descended actually deserve this faith. But Vance and his people are targeting the wrong guys. And Vance and his people are the extremists that believe that, descended are bad. Meanwhile, the truth is, they will not even be able to fight descended at all, if not for some descended looking at the whole thing and like, oh no, I think my kind are really bad against these people. I should help these people to get some justice. It's just like when women were fighting for equal rights, feminism and all those things. The grounds that we have gained, if some men did not stand up to help us fight, we will not even gain it. Do you understand? So for every fight you are doing, it's not all or nothing. There are always some people that are good, some people that are bad. You get. So that's my 2 cents on this matter. Please, mortals can take out the worst of descended. They should take out the worst of descended. Many descended are not good people. Now, Diem launches into healer mode. She gives instruction to Alex and Luther to hold down the bleeding with strips of her linen tunic that she tore into makeshift bandages. One mortal tries crossing the border, from Aburus into Igneous, and like, we're not afraid of you, descendants come, you can't keep running. But the moment he steps his foot in across the border, he turns to shard husk. Igneous put the border defense to ensure mortals never came back to the realm. So Diem now gives Taran hope that he's going to recover if he rests a few days. Luther is on watch while the others huddle up and sleep. That is, Diem and Alex sleep while Taran is in the center. So they kind of cover him. They don't have blankets or anything, and the desert is cold at night. In the morning, Diem comes to sit beside Luther. So he has researched on godstone before now, because he wanted to use it in the past to poison his father. The effect is fatal. So he now asks Diem, is it right to lie to someone you love when you know death is coming? To let them believe the future might stretch on forever when you know your time left together is far shorter? Or is that adding cruelty to tragedy? Diem believing that, we're talking about Taran. She's like, please, in my practice as a healer, there are all manner of medicine and hope is one of them. If these are Taran's final days, I just want him happy. So when they get up and Luther kisses her, that kiss tastes of sorrow. Taran needs herbs that Diem saw in Aburus. And she also notes that them that are traveling, they need water and provisions. But they can't sneak back into Aburus because the guardians in the trees, you're seeing them in the trees across the border there. You're seeing brown, hateful eyes that looking at you like, just come inside. Just make the mistake of coming inside, will kill you. And they're also staying away from the arrow range so that arrows shots would not reach them and they'll die. So it is hard. On either side is death. You have this igneous deserts that you're not seeing any water, or you don't even know where next to head to. On the other side of Aburus, there are these guardians, these people that have so much hate in their hearts against your kind. They're ready to kill you. You understand? So how we go take them? Now, Luther has seen a map of Igneous, and he knows that they're close to what used to be Igneous's mortal city. It's by the sea. It's near the border, so they start walking. They're a little slow because of Taran, but they're making progress. However, a walk in these arid conditions without water dehydrates them so much they all have cracked lips. The sand irritates their skin. The powdery sand makes them too slow. The guardians are even keeping up with them through the woods because they are traveling close to the border so that they don't get lost in the vast desert. So they're staying close to the border. Because of that, the guardians too are just traveling through the woods and following them as per, will they see you? You may not be able to cross, but you cannot go back. Diem checks Taran's wounds at intervals, and black marks are edging out of it and spreading. She's furious to advance at the Guardians who did this. She wants to avenge Taran, but at the same time, she understands that her hatred right now is a mirror of what the Guardians are feeling. They've lost family and friends to the Descended, and Taran is part of their revenge. If Diem avenges Taran by any means, it will continue that cycle of hatred. This whole thing is complicated, Joe. Now, when they settle in among the Dune for a night's rest, Diem takes the first watch so that she can cry by herself and ask them those questions. She now concludes, save Taran, get us home, and then I'll pray to you. Now, the next day, they finally get to what used to be the mortal city of Igneous. It's built around an oasis they take advantage of to get fresh water, wash off the sand on their skins, but there is no food because it's been nearly 2 centuries since this place was last inhabited. It doesn't look like the people who used to be here were one to flee. It's like they were destroyed suddenly. Weapons are still there. Wardrobes are still full. At least the wardrobes provide them with clothes, like adequate dressing for the desert, willowy clothes, cropped tunics, that kind of thing. All their weapons were taken by the Guardians, including Luther's sword of cobalt, like I mentioned earlier. But then they refuel what they can, or Photoshan steels, because some Photoshan steels are there. While Diem is cleaning up Taran's cuts, it comes up that Igneous actually used to be the most hospitable realm, but everything changed after the Blood War. During the Blood War, Igneous wanted to remain neutral, but then their oasis started getting poisoned, and it's essential for life here. The army only helped Igneous after they joined in the war, and then because of the rebels were angry, like the mortal rebels, Igneous, why would you join the Descended against us? They now hit Igneous the hardest. So now few survived, few Igneous people, and afterwards they became so angry. That's why there are so many skeletons. So the mortals here, they didn't know that there will be such hatred against them. You understand? Because the Descended and the mortals are blaming each other. Like, we don't know who poisoned this water. If it's the strangers that they entertain into the land. If it's the mortals. If it's the Descended. So the Descended, they were so angry at what happened. They now took it out on the mortals there. You get? So they fried them in the sun. Did so many unspeakable atrocities to them. Because they didn't want the mortals in their land to escape to Umbers and spill their secrets to the Umbers queen. So painful. So many whitewashed skeletons in the sand there. From 200 years. So Diem mentions what Henry said happened to them the whole they were left to roast in the sun. But she doesn't mention Henry's name, just said that she heard that this happened. So Taran is disappointed that Diem was part of the Guardians who have killed his friends. Because he has friends who the Guardians have killed. So Diem is telling him that you have to consider that these people too are trying to fight for a cause. Not all Guardians are as extreme as these other guys. So the whole thing is trying to lead to an argument. So to turn that attention away from Diem, Luther now says he's the one that works with them, that he works with the Guardians too, even after the island incident. Remember, he did not kill Henry and the Guardians he saw. Instead, he ferried them back to Lumnos in one piece. Now, with a low grunt, notice that low grunt. You can say, oh, maybe Luther is hungry, maybe he's tired, but he's grunting to stand up. He pushes himself from his seated position, he stalks off. Taran's shoulder wound is infected. Diem does her best to quickly conceal it from him and the others. When she's done wrapping it, Taran follows after Luther because he's mad at Diem, right? Yeah. Now, it's just Alex and Diem washing off in the pool. Diem admits that she saved the guards at the armory out of guilt. That action of hers in saving the guards from the Bennett armory is something that Alex used to respect Diem a lot. But Diem is telling her, I did it out of guilt though. Alex is now informing her that, see, people feel guilty all the time, but they don't do anything about it. I still respect you, and I trust that Taran will see things the same way too, eventually. Alex understands, where Diem is coming from, where the Guardians are coming from, having seen the violence that mortals face at the hand of Descended guards and the mortals' living conditions. Now, they're still talking when there is suddenly a sound of wings. Diem knows that she instructed Sarai, at all costs, do not come after me. So what's the sound of wings? They quickly rush to hide. It's the Igneous King, who looks to be without weapons. Remember one of the titles of our episodes in this series is those without weapons are considered to be the most powerful. So the king, not really having any weapons on him, is trying to say, I am powerful. I don't need my weapons. My magic is so strong, it can destroy anybody. I'm the igneous king after all. But two of his female guards with him, the igneous king has two female guards with him. They have an arsenal of weapons in their belts. And then Tybalt, the Griven, that is the igneous king's Griven, is nearly twice the size of Sarai. Tybalt is the name of this Griven. Now the king passes the bamboo ban that Diem and Alex are hiding in. She's looking out through there. In fact, there's a time the king passes out while Diem is looking out through one of the holes. And their face would have jammed. The king would have seen her. Even note that his attention was on the sand. So he's now speaking out loud, just in case anybody's hearing him, that the forging magic informed me that there are 3 here not of this realm, and then something other. He now says, I've had crowns come to my land, come to Igneous, and I've seen how the forging magic bends around them when they walk. But with Diem, the forging magic shatters. So Alex looks at Diem with a question in her eyes, but Diem does not look back at Alex. She hasn't told her friends about her disastrous coronation because, first of all, it's low on her priority list. It would also mean revealing the secret of the Hearthstone, which her gut instinct is telling her, don't tell anybody about the Hearthstone just yet. Now, the king now starts asking Tybalt, the Griven, very unspecific questions. Can you sense them? Can you tell me why they're in my realm? He doesn't care that they're not here to hurt him. He wants to kill them and take Diem prisoner. So the king now takes his spike rings. His ring has spikes on them. He slams, like he punches Tybalt in the soft patch beneath his mouth, drawing blood. The Griven now is bleeding. So apparently, the Igneous king is a very abusive master. Angry, Diem makes a mistake of muttering, Griven's read intentions, asshole, not mine. With that, Tybalt's eyes, boom, meets Diem in her hiding place. Eek! She's like, oh, more. I have died. I have showed myself. Thankfully, though, Tybalt doesn't inform his king, just watches Diem. Now, the king goes on a rage-filled fire spree. He's burning up the homestead, the kiosks, the bands, all in an attempt to kill whoever might be hiding in those places or to make Diem run out. When he now faces the band that Diem and Alex are hiding in, Tybalt now makes this high trill sound, this trilling sound, to indicate that Diem and her colleagues, they've run off into the dunes. So with his guards, the king leaves. The guards still they did not say anything as they were searching the whole place. He leaves on the Griven's back, like let them go to the dunes and search for them. But then they plan to send more guards to search here tomorrow, top to bottom. So the king knows they're in Igneous, but he doesn't know exactly where they are. You get. Now they're barely gone before Diem is out searching in those destroyed homes for Luther and Taran. She's panicking, like, oh my god, I hope they didn't get the guys. In one of the destroyed structures, she sees a scimitar. I might not be pronouncing that stuff correct. You know that sword, that thing that it's mostly these Arabians that have this type of sword, this curved sword that looks like a sickle, but easy to fight. You get. Luther was holding one earlier, and this one that Diem says in one of the destroyed structures looks like that. So Diem is thinking, oh my god, is Luther gone? Was he blasted? Now Alex draws her away. Like draws Diem into one building like that. In that building, the carpet that was on the floor was moved aside and beneath a trapdoor to a basement. Luther is helping Taran out, and once out, Diem hauls herself at Luther's side and he grunts loudly. So she looks so afraid as she looks at him. She's not telling him, I thought you died. He comforts her. Like, no, I did not. You know, that kind of thing. As for what's next, they're bickering. Like, okay, what should we do? We can't stay here till tomorrow. We can't be sitting ducks for the guys to come back and find us. No. So should we go through our burrows and take chances with the mortals? Luther and Taran can keep the mortals busy, you know, the guardians, while Alex and Diem slip away. Then there's also the suggestion to remain here until Diem's magic returns so that she can call on Sarai. But that is very unpredictable and is unsafe. So Diem's final verdict, we're going to Umbers. We're taking a ship to Lumnos from there. Alex wants them to leave tonight. But Diem says, no, we need to rest. Let's leave tomorrow morning, okay? So that night, Diem perfectly plans it in such a way that she's the one who takes the first watch. And after her watch, the next person that's going to watch is Alex. So she creates a distraction using a burning candle and stainless utensil, but she puts a rope under it. So the candle is burning, buying her time. So the rope is very thick. So the time it takes for that candle, a thin candle to burn the rope, it's a while. So when the thing she puts on, the stainless thing she puts above there, the candle has burnt the thing holding it, and the thing, obviously, the utensils, bam, falls on the floor. With that sound now, in a very quiet night, the person keeping watch, Alex, and then Luther, who was having his bath in the middle of the night, both of them rushed to check that out. Like, what's this? What fell? Who's there? You get that kind of thing. With them distracted like that, Diem quickly slips away to Oberus through the sea. She removes her clothes, buries it in the sand, goes stark naked into Oberus. That's what I'm telling you. If we start counting how many times Diem has been naked in this series. She collects supplies and herbs for Taran's wounds, and then supplies to things that they will eat and co. Not willing to contaminate the herbs with salt water, she had to go through the border, the land border. When she sneezed like that and called attention to herself, she was left flying through, like running for her dear life, grabbing all the things she was holding, the rabbit and co, flying through with the godstone arrows that just being shot at her. She was just running like that to get back to Igneous. So as she crossed back into Igneous, she wore back her clothes, and then she now returned to where the others were by morning to a very livid Luther. Alex is not happy either. So in as much as she is, Diem is her queen and she obeys her, there is no more that whole ease and rapport in their relation, and that pains Diem. So right now, Luther's anger for some reason seems extreme. That, Diem trying to suit him normally is not working. In fact, he slams his fist into a very sturdy table that cracks in two. Even Diem steps away from him like, Abba, what's with the temper? You get? And with that, he too is forced to calm down. Please hold on to this. Notice this thing happening because there's an explanation for it. Now, while Diem is preparing the herbs, she shoots orders that Taran should gently take off his bandages. So while she's telling Taran to do that, she cuts herself in the process, and her blood drips into what she's mixing up. The thing is, yes, her blood dripping into this medicine she's mixing is unsanitary, but there is not enough herbs to waste. So she has to scoop out the little of her blood that she can. And she now uses the rest on Taran like that. You get, it's even why she's treating him, it's just two of them because Alex is not here. Luther has left now after that display of anger. So it's even Taran that gets the full story from her and how she went about this Oberus trip. Because she told the others that, I just swam, it's nothing, nobody saw me. Taran is like, oh yeah, give me the full gist. How did that go? So she told him everything. He even has to stifle his laugh at junctures. He now thanks her for the sacrifice she made for him, that he would actually do the same for her. Now, it's a very long walk to get to Umbers. A very long walk. Several times, Taran asks, are we there yet? To everyone's annoyance. Eventually, they take a break among rocks. Diem now checks on Taran's wounds. And then they're healing so fast. So it's now Luther now asking Diem, could you have created a godstone cure by accident? Meanwhile, Diem is feeling very hot, and she's wearing the thinnest linen. The others are shivering. Like, what do you mean it's hot? We are so cold. They are shivering beneath woolen clothes that they're wearing. Now, Diem prepares another poultice, applies it on Taran's wounds. After that, she now gives Luther the rest of it to go and wash off in the seawater. Now, everything Diem starts touching right now is melting, because when she's applying the thing on Taran's skin, Taran is like, oh, the poultice is so hot. But then they now notice no, it's actually Diem that is burning up. So while Luther is away, washing the things, Taran tells her that, hey, you're going to put Luther in early grave. You're making him worry so much. And it's only ever been like this with his younger sister, Lily. In fact, the rest of the cousins used to joke that anyone who wants Lily, that is, wants to have a relationship with Lily, has a death wish. But then that man simply needed to have a feisty older sister, because we know now that Lily is with Tella. So the only way that it could have been possible for Tella to be with Lily without Luther breathing down on his neck is that Luther needed a distraction, which is Tella's feisty older sister, Diem. So the couple's alumnus setup. Meanwhile, Diem is just trying to imagine a possibility without Luther. If I didn't find Luther, or if I had my future without Luther, she's like, oh no, I can't imagine, suffocated. Meanwhile, Taran and Alex's magic has been coming and going. It's how they've walked far, because Alex cloaks them briefly on the road with their high illusion spells now. Now they resume their trek, and it's noticeable that Luther keeps falling behind. So it's like, okay, maybe he's guiding our rear, he's falling behind. Or maybe he's tired, whatever it is. Now, it's a cloudy day. It looks like it's about to rain soon. So it's not easy to tell if it's evening yet or when it's going to be evening. They're just walking. And they've not even started seeing the Umbers rocks yet. But then a watch point is coming up ahead. 3 Igneous guards are there at that watch point to prevent travelers of the ring road from crossing into Igneous. So now they hide behind one rock like that. They now discuss a plan to get past that doesn't involve fighting those guards. So Luther wraps a scarf around Diem's neck, pulls a hood over her. Luther and Diem are behind while Taran and Alex are in front. So they now tell the guards they couldn't resist checking out Igneous's beaches, that they're sorry that they crossed from the ring road into Igneous, that they just heard that Igneous has the best beaches, and they're actually coming from Aboris this morning, having hunted down mortals or involved in a Corel attack. So when one guard reaches for Diem, Luther now growls, "Don't touch my mate." Alex now hurries to explain that they just recently mated and their mating bond is new, so they're very possessive of each other. Taran even goes as far as, "I tried to join in last night because, none of us have been getting much sleep because they've been going at it, they've been going at the bangity bang." So Taran is saying that he tried to join in last night. And imagine, my own flesh and blood stabbed me in the balls. It's still healing. Want to see the wound here? Let me just take off. The guys like, no, we don't want to see your balls. No, just go. So, and they're doing that. And it looks like, they successfully escaped from Igneous, crossing into Umbers. The Umbers' black rocks are even in sight, but Diem is burning up so bad. Her eyes are glowing. Her entire skin is red hot. The command is back in her chest, but instead of saying fight or destroy, it's saying burn. She needs reprieve now. So she now starts removing the cloak around her neck, the hood, the scarf that has holes in it, even cinched corners, as though somebody put it over a candle and candle burned it. She starts wading into the beach water. That's where she's getting some relief. She kneels in the water of the sea, and then she surrenders. She burns. Oh, it's so good. The burning is so good. She imagines the Everflame eternity feels like this. She's like, maybe I'm there already. Maybe Daddy's here to give me a hug. Death ain't so bad. But then she sees Luther's eyes through the maze, and he seems in physical pain because he came into the water with her, and he now begs to touch her, but she refuses, thinking she's gonna hurt him. So she eventually hugs him, and she's not hurting him. In fact, he seems better now that they're hugging. He's proud of her, that she's mastering this magic so quickly that even their clothes are not burned. He seems to understand what's happening to her, even though she doesn't understand. But then there is no time for answers because the guards, those Igneous guards are sending up columns of fire into the sky. So they soon hear Riven's wings. Diem now looks to Alex to follow an order that she gave her earlier. She told Alex earlier, "Please, if things go badly, I want you to take Taran and run to Umbers without me." So now Diem is so spent from the whole releasing that she can't run. In fact, Luther was even carrying her in his arms, but she's like, "Drop me, keep me on the ground." So now it's just them, Diem and Luther, who have to face off against the king and his 7 guards. Without magical, the king makes it known that Diem is wanted by the Amarian crowns for questioning. He wants her to obediently follow back to his palace. Not as much as Luther extols Diem's powers, like, you think you have powers against her? If your powers are sparks, hers is the sun. But Diem knows that. Luther, I appreciate you saying all that, but with me and you know that my power is dimmed by flame roots. And the king sees the doubt on Diem's face, so he lashes on it and attacks them. Diem raises a shield to protect Luther, but she also knows she'll drain fast because her magic is quite dull. She's only having access to a fraction of her magic, just a tiny fraction. So Luther is looking to Lumnos like, "Please restore my magic so that I can save her." So right now, Diem is out. There's only one thing left to try. The shield is already breaking down. They would have them soon. So Diem now asks Luther if he trusts her. Luther has been in front of Diem against the people attacking them. But Diem now backs Luther. Backs him in such a way that right now she's in the direct line of fire. If she lets down her shield and the Igneous people attack, it's her that they're going to hit, not Luther. So she does that and then drops her shields. All the attacks go straight at her. But instead of hurting her, the attacks are invigorating her. Remember Ron's attacks from the challenge and it wasn't hurting her. So that's what she's trying out right now. And it's invigorating her. The king sends more attacks at her. The king looks disturbed. But he just takes in the magic. It's refreshing. The king is now asking, "What kind of shield is this that you're using?" Diem laughs. But despite what the king is saying, he is stoic that he's not going to let them go. He keeps calling Diem half-breed and now says that if you're not going to fight like a descendant, I'm going to kill you like mortals. So hence, a sword and knife fight ensues. It's just the 7 guards fighting Diem and Luther. Do you get? The king is one side with his griffin watching them. So Diem and Luther are taking nicks and cuts, although they are fighting aggressively. Thankfully, there is no godstone here. So they are outnumbered and so tired. Even the guards look annoyed at their king. As per, what is it now? These people that were fighting, is it what our lives? See, these people kill us. Remember, Diem is not someone who normally fights to kill. She just fights to survive. She doesn't want to hurt anybody, descended or mortal. Eventually, Diem and Luther make a run for it after she causes this blind white light. But the king raises a firewall. Luther gets caught in some of the fire. So the thing now causes a welt, like a red mark to welt on Luther's arm. You get. The king now flies to the other side of the firewall he created with the Griven. Luther tells her to go, that it's too late for him. Too late for you, K. He gives her a goodbye kiss. Diem isn't going to give him up though. They even start throwing daggers at Luther. One gets Luther in the thigh. Diem is pleading. She would do anything. You know the first time she pleaded with the guardians, let my friends go out, do anything, don't hurt them. This one now, she's pleading, rolling in front of the ignorant king, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. Hi, God of mercy. The amount of times this very powerful girl has been helpless in this story. You can have power and be very helpless and begging like this. That's why I understand all over TikTok, people are very annoyed at Diem's character. Most often, when we talk about most other fantasy series I've read and co, they're not this powerless. Even in situations they're held down, they're not this powerless. Or they don't seem this powerless. So actually, Diem's powerlessness compared to the things we've seen is annoying. She's a very powerful person. So why is she constantly held down? Why are they constantly beating her? She's constantly begging and whining. Please spare my friends. Please don't hurt me. Me, I don't want to hurt you. It's actually quite annoying. I can relate to those who find it annoying because me too is annoying to me. But the reason I can relate to Diem's story is it's actually more real. It's like us that are Christians, we are constantly begging life walk now. But you have all the power to make life work. You just pray, you just speak. Even if something doesn't seem to be happening, it's happening. But we let ourselves get so defeated easily. My helper now, please now, save me. So I feel like Diem represents all of us in that same case. You can be so powerful and feel like you don't have anything. Do you understand? So eventually, the king is saying that he cannot let Luther go. If you let him go, he's going to come back for him. That it's just more peaceful to him if Luther is dead. So just like that, they throw one dagger, aiming for Luther's heart. So Diem now dives to intercept it. This king, absolute bastard. Luther is now cradling Diem. She is on the sand. She's bleeding out. He touches the hilt of the dagger protruding through her chest. Now, Ignos is angry at his guards. Is he how I told you to kill? Look at his beef. Now I have a mess to clean up. I don't need suffer sniffing around looking for a body to run their test on. We'll kill both of them and incinerate their bodies with dragon fire. If anyone asks, they were never in our realm. Understood? The complete bastard this king is. Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, Luther's magic is back and he unleashes. This is when his magic chose to come back. The entire beach goes black. Instantly, he impales the 7 guards. Instantly, you just want thoughts wrap around them, giving them a very painful death. Diem hasn't been fighting to kill, only survive. But Luther, he is livid. He is killing. King is in horror as his best guards are down. Tybalt is just watching Diem. Just keeps watching Diem. That's Griven. Diem senses Tybalt's anger. This is a Griven that has been angry, tormented, abused for centuries. So the way Tybalt's anger is contained is like a volcano that is just small thing, let it erupt. Luther is ready to be killed by this Griven after he kills the king. Because the king is like, if you kill me, my Griven king. I said, no problem. At least you'll be dead. So now, the king's once mighty fires are a pittance next to Luther's. So even Luther is more powerful than the Igneous crown. The ladies that did the deep dive on this, like the Fancy Fangirls podcast that I love listening to, by the way, they have speculated through a pattern in this story that they have observed that it appears that they have breed. These ones always insult and have breed. You have mortal children. Those ones seem to be more powerful than the ones that their 2 parents are descended. Those ones seem more powerful. And it appears that perhaps that the kindred deliberately wanted it to be that way. They meant for, their descended children to keep marrying and reproducing with mortals. But the descended had already created a stratal society. Oh no, we're not appreciating descended. Without even realizing that it's weakening their magic. In fact, if you reproduce with mortals, that's even when the children you have seem stronger. So right now, the Igneous King's magic is nothing against Luther's. And mind you, Luther is exhausted or tired or been traveling or. Yet Luther is just tearing through the man's shields easily. In fact, the Igneous king now goes to hide. He's now cowering under his gripe and he's now shaking. So now Tybalt looks again at Diem. So Diem gets Tybalt's message. Spare the life of the man I despise for the life of the man you love. As per, if Luther should kill the Igneous king, Tybalt has no choice. Based on how he's bound to protect the crown, he would have no choice but to kill Luther. Do you understand? Diem's throat is filled with blood though, but she now croaks mercy. So Luther turns away from trying to kill the Igneous crown. Tybalt snatches the cowering king and takes off. Now it's just the two of them. That is Diem and Luther. Diem now croaks, convinces Luther. She can't really talk because of all the blood coming out of her mouth. And she's dying. She now tells Luther, magic. She's able to say, magic. And she points at herself, attack. And when he looks hesitant, she now says, trust. Wait, so he now gives in. Attacks her tentatively at first. But when he says that nothing is happening against her, as far the magic is not, killing her, he increases the attacks. And then at least the magic heals her to the point that her own magic starts playing with his own. You understand? The wound in her throat, her chest heals because he pulled out the dagger earlier. So she's fine enough to walk. Then Taran shows up. He didn't know the plan was to abandon Diem and Luther. So when they crossed and he found out, he started trekking back, to get to Diem and Luther. The Luther who is so injured, then he doesn't heal like Diem now, that you attack with magic and he will be healed now. So he's so injured, both from the dagger they threw at him, the nicks and cuts, everything. He can't carry Diem like he wants. So he hesitantly allows Taran to. Remember, Taran has healed significantly so much better. So Alex now supports Luther. He puts his hand over her shoulder. So together, all four of them feel the painful surge as they cross the border from Igneous into Umbros. They're now in Umbros. And that's where the adventure continues. Thank you so much for being with me through the story. Please, if you're listening on Spotify, yes, listen on Apple Podcasts, rate the show, review it, tell someone about it. Join our Telegram community. I beg you, join our Telegram community, even our Discord. I'm going to have the link to the Discord soon. Just so many fun things are coming up for you to get to choose which story we're going to do, how we're going to do it. I'm going to give book recommendations in our groups. We're going to play some games. We're going to learn how this community thing works together. You get. So please join. Tell your friends. Let's create an awesome community, more so than we already have. Thank you so much for listening today. It's been a very painful episode, but at least everybody got out alive. Almost. Even the people we wish did not get out alive. Oh, those poor gods. Regardless, I really feel for Igneous though as a realm. What about you? There's just so much to say today, but I'm not going to keep you. Oh, this has been fun. And see you in the next episode. Bye, Nibber.